My dissertation is really trying to understand the ways in which teachers of color who have a background in ethnic studies, what that does to shape how they teach content, right? So my focus is Filipino Americans, but my kind of interests are teachers of color more broadly. Concerns about burnout, concerns about recruitment and diversity efforts, right? And really, I think for me, ethnic studies allowed me to pause and say, okay, well, where are we going to recruit these teachers? Who's going to be teaching? Because as the research says, and as people know, putting a person of color in front of students of color is not a silver bullet, right? There's a particular orientation and consciousness that I think that is important to really connect to the student experience. And so some of the findings I'm having are that ethnic studies has allowed these teachers to mold and shape and understand how to navigate kind of the bureaucracies of their campuses. Also, they've been able to see ways, as one of my participants has said, it's an invitation, right? So sometimes a lot of people are saying, well, with ethnic studies, how are we going to teach this? And for them, and among the teachers in my study are saying, well, it's an invitation. We know that it's an invitation to say, okay, how do we provide the counter narrative? How do we provide a different alternative perspective? And how do we make that connect and be responsive to the students that we're serving, right? So I think that invitation for them has been able to happen because of their knowledge and background in ethnic studies. Another part too that has been exciting to see is a lot of the teachers are able to draw connections across ethnic groups. For example, a lot of the teachers I work with have Spanish surnames, right, because of the colonial history. And when their students come into their classroom and they're teaching in South Central or Koreatown, they're expecting to see a Latino person in front of them. But when they see a Filipino, right, they're able to then have that as a point of departure, a point of entry to think about the relationships and kind of the shared nuances because of colonialism, right? Because of immigration. Why are our families here? Why are they now living in these neighborhoods, right? And I think for the teachers and the students that they serve, they're able to have and develop meaningful relationships because of that. And I think that's an important distinction because a lot of the teachers that were in the study are saying, previously they've worked with Asian American, Pacific Islander, Filipino students, but now that when they're in different contexts with more Latino and Black students, they're able to then draw upon their knowledge of ethnic studies to make those connections, but then also invite and suggest that the students also learn about other cultures in critical ways that kind of push back on kind of the essentialist multicultural frameworks that we've kind of come to know, right? So how do we really contend with and apply this knowledge to the context that we're teaching in? I think lastly, what's exciting about this work and what's exciting about a lot of my colleagues who are doing work with schools and on ethnic studies is that a lot of this is driven by the fact that we didn't have it, right? So for myself, I didn't have it until I got to my first year of college at Ohlone, and now it's for a lot of the teachers, they're saying, okay, well, because I didn't have that, that's why you're going to have that. You're going to have this particular knowledge, and you're going to see yourself as a producer of knowledge because my experience wasn't validated, right? What's also exciting is that there's a really big push to kind of move us beyond what's important. I think it's important for students to learn about their identity, right? It's important for them to see themselves in this, but then I think what's developing with ethnic studies that differs from multiculturalism or other kind of culturally responsive approaches is that kind of structural analysis, right? To say, okay, well, what are the forces and conditions, and how does power operate in our schooling experience, and how does it affect me and my family as well as my community? I think that ethnic studies opens up that kind of interdisciplinary learning for students that is exciting, and it's a continuation of movements that have been happening for generations now.